Welcome back. Downing Street's waded into a row over whether children should be allowed to identify as cats. Yes, you heard me correctly. It has emerged that some schools are allowing pupils to choose which neo-gender they want to be. But Rishi Sunak says this isn't right, and he's blamed the teachers responsible. Joining me now in the studio, broadcaster Claire Muldoon. Hi, Claire.
Hi.
We're also joined by head teacher Vic Goddard. Let me start with Vic, because he's the head teacher. Vic, are you aware of children at your school who identify as, I've been reading about this, cats, horses, maybe even unicorns, that kind of thing? And if you are, what exactly does it mean to identify as that?
Well, firstly, what we have is, in the press, one incident in one school where a young person has behaved in a way that another young person has commented on, and the teacher has tried to deal with it. Have they dealt with it? Well, I don't know, because I've only read what's in some of the dodgiest newspapers in the world. So I don't know if that's true, but that's the reality of what's happened. In one school, one teacher's tried to deal with an upset in their class, and it's not gone well. I have had a young person who, in response, meowed back to me in the past and had some support with her mental health because that was what was needed. If I was in that case, I'd be saying to the young person who's called the other child crazy, you do you. You just make sure you're okay, and my job's to support the other young person in navigating life. You know, that's the reality. And if we're honestly saying that the Prime Minister has time to do this, and from what I read, Gillian Keegan has given a senior civil servant, a highly paid person, mandated them to go into this school and investigate. Well, I've got a couple of others that if she's got some spare civil servants to do, I'd really like them to investigate brunettes who identify as blondes, because that really upsets me, and also bald men who wear wigs and identify as hirsutes, because they're just as significant as what this nonsense is that the Prime Minister and Gillian Keegan seem to be focused on, which is, let's be honest, just teacher bashing in order to get a culture war going that we're the victim.
It's so not, Vic, and I'm really, really sad that you actually take that view, being in the education environment that you are actually in and in that industry. Indeed, Rishi Sunak has come out and explicitly said, via a spokesperson, that it's not the job of the teacher to influence the gender or the ideology gender of a child. And he even went further, and well done in my view, because he actually said that head teachers should actually intervene if the child presents as a furry, as they're actually called, i.e. a cat, a horse, a dinosaur or whatever. But the fact check behind that would actually indicate that children don't actually want to be a cat, a horse or whatever. They're actually doing it for fun almost. But the reality is, and the difficulty that I think staff have because of a movement that is so explicitly underhand, is the fact that children now do not have the love, the care, the support if they actually come out and say they are transgender to be the different sex from the biological born with sex that they are. And I think teachers need this guidance. Head teachers need to be ahead of the game, because ultimately, as you quite rightly said, if a child presented with blonde hair instead of brown, of actually the brown hair that's implicit, or in fact, if I wanted to be a size 10, God only knows I do. But listen, the reality is I'm not. So where do we stop with the misgendering or the transgendering or this whole ideological debate of allowing children that we are supposed to protect, that we're supposed to love, that we're supposed to look out for, that we're supposed to have legal things in place to protect them? There is no protection if staff, especially staff at your level, Vic, don't do their part, don't play their part, help underpin the child, signpost them for mental health help if they need. But the parents must be on board at all times, always.
Well, I don't know. I come from a generation where I don't know if kids still do this, but when I was a little girl, we used to read loads and loads of horsey books, even if we didn't have horses and didn't know anyone with horses and lived in the urban jungle. We still read, Jill's Gymkhana and all those books, and we loved them. And then there were lots of girls that I knew who would basically canter and gallop and trot around, and I would say pretend to be horses. And they did it sometimes for years. I don't know whether their parents, gave them a loose box and fed them a carrot. But all I'm saying is,
don't mention the whips, Vanessa.
No, but they would gallop about. They would neigh. They would do everything that horses do because they were just enjoying the whole horse thing so much.
And playing.
But you know, they didn't identify as horses. They were pretending to be horses for the purpose of play and fantasy and fun.
Yes.
Now, you know, whether they went to sleep in a stable or a loose box or whether they didn't, they didn't think they were horses. They knew they weren't.
Yep.
It was just a kind of play sort of a thing. So let me just ask Vic, so if there is a child at school who neighs at you, or as you said, really did happen to you, meows at you or whatever it is, would it be permissible? Would you say, I see, you're pretending to be a cat, you're playing that you're a horse, you're having a great game about, being part of a menagerie or a circus, a gymkhana, what a great fun game, but actually you're now in class, your name is Susan, your name is Gerald, I'm your head teacher, talk to me in language, please, because you're a human being and not a horse. Are you allowed to say that, or do you somehow have to indulge some kind of identifying as a horse
Or do you want to even say that?
What's the story with it? I mean, I don't really... Hello, Vic. What's the answer?
Ranting at me, calm.
No, I'm asking you, sir, nicely.
I'll be honest. Yes, that's what you would do. I can think of a particular young person at my school who did go, if you spoke to her when she was in a bad place, would meow back at you, and I would have the conversation, I'm a human being, I know you can communicate with me better, so let's try doing it that way. Of course, that's a common sense approach. And I'm afraid the faux outrage, the faux culture war, which is where people think people's opinions are facts, is where we are. This what we're talking about is one incident with one young person. We're not talking about thousands. We're not talking about happening all over the country. We are talking about children who identify as horses at playtime because that's what they want to be. And let's leave it at that rather than try and
all right, we're going to leave it at that. That's exactly what we'll do. Claire, thank you. Vic, thank you very much indeed. Let me tell you what's coming.